Hey guys, how's it going? My name's Chris Geffert, and this is my oral presentation on tourism and disaster. So, first of all, basically, there are only two main ways that tourism can be associated with disaster. The first of these two ways being through man-made disasters, and basically the only example of man-made disasters is terrorism. A good example of terrorism here is in the Mediterranean Sea, somewhere between Africa and Europe. A cruise ship line was hijacked by terrorists, demanding some type of bounty. And subsequently, the cruise ship industry in the Mediterraneans suffered a major decline in business because of fear. People were scared to go on Mediterranean cruises now after it was hijacked by terrorists. Um, Second example of how tourism is associated with disaster is through natural disasters. Basically, a lot of these tourist destinations are in extremely exotic and obscure locations. So they run the risk of natural disasters, a higher risk of natural disasters just because of their location and where they are, whether it's an avalanche at the top of a snowy peak while someone's skiing, or just being on the beach and somewhere in Hawaii where that beach is in a geographical location that runs a higher risk for hurricanes. Um, so yeah, now let's talk about disaster planning and how that relates to tourism. So basically, if you're a tourist in one of these extremely exotic and obscure locations and a disaster strikes, you might be out of luck. Basically, the governments of these exotic areas only focus solely on their permanent residents in most cases because that's their number one main concern. And this creates a huge problem for tourists because they're uneducated and unaware of what to do in a disaster scenario, and there isn't much help for them to receive if there was a disaster to strike. Something that's been done recently to combat this issue is a lot of these tourist facilities, basically welcoming centers in these exotic locations, are now educating the tourists that are coming in on dangers and potential disasters that could happen to them while they're there. But at the same time, these tourist facilities, they do not want to push tourists away from coming to them with these scary disaster warnings and scary things that could happen to them while they're there. So it kind of cancels each other out there. Moving on, let's talk about the media and how that relates to tourism disasters. Basically, when you're a tourist, you have these images of these exotic locations in your head of beauty and pleasure, and it's hard to get these images out of your head. So when this exotic area is destroyed by a natural disaster and it's perpetuated by the media, and all you see is the worst, most gruesome pictures and videos of the area, it kind of makes you not want to go to the area, obviously, because it's not going to be the same as you pictured it in your head. The media loves to mislead the public about the actual magnitude of the disaster because that, helps them get views and such. So they love to only show the worst pictures and videos, and the uncertainty about the location that the media perpetuates causes a severe drop in tourism in these locations. And a lot of these exotic locations, they solely need tourism to substantiate their economy because that's their number one grossing income and for their GDP in these very small locations. So the media, when it comes to tourism and disasters, is really a disaster in itself. Thank you. These are my references. Appreciate your time.